What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another video. In this episode, I want to go over how you can fix and solve security vulnerabilities within your Node.js projects. They can be using either regular NPM scripts and modules, or you could be using something like Gulp or Webpack, whatever bundler you're using. I'm going to show you two ways to get this done. So first things first, what I'm going to do here is just explain to you the project, the sample project. I am working on my Windows computer. I'm going to be using VS Code. I do have Git installed, so I have Git Bash available. And I'm going to be using the Git Bash terminal, so that way the commands will work either on Windows with this setup that I have, or work on Mac OS or Linux as well. All right, so right here in VS Code, I'm going to open up the terminal. By default here, it opens up a PowerShell. Now I just like working in Git Bash. So now you see it's going to change into the Bash terminal itself. I'm going to just go over some very basic commands. The first one I'm going to show you is ls-leh. And you see here, we have nothing in this folder. So I'm going to make a directory with the makedir command. And I'm just going to call this project. Go back to the ls command, and now you see we have the project folder. So I'm going to change into that folder itself. So we're cd for change directory into project. Now you see we're in the project folder. I'm going to move the terminal screen up a little. So now what I want to do is first show you the standard way to fix any vulnerability issues. So I'm going to type out npm init just to create my package.json file. Now I'm just gonna press enter for all of these prompts because this is just for demonstration purposes. It's gonna show me what's gonna be outputted. I'll just type out yes. I'm gonna hit Control-L to bring the terminal window up again so we see more. What I wanna do now is just show you that file. So I'll type out cat package.json. And we see the information inside that file. Right now, there's really nothing there. If we type out ls-leh, we see we have that file and nothing else. So what I want to do now is I'm going to install a vulnerable package or module. So I'm going to type out npm install -- two dashes save -dev lodash. And again, I'm going to be installing an older version of Lodash so it can show you the vulnerability. So I'll type out at 4.17.1. So I'm installing Lodash now. I'll press enter. After a few seconds, it shows what it installed. And you get this message, one critical severity vulnerability. To address all issues, run NPM Audit Fix -- force, or you can run NPM Audit for more details. So let me just type out npm audit, and then you're going to get some information about what the issues are. And these are links that you can go to the announcements. And now if we want to just use the default way of fixing these vulnerabilities, we could just type out npm audit fix. All right, so now you see that we have 0 vulnerabilities. That's the built-in way, the default way of using npm audit fix on a project. Now you want to be careful with this command, especially the -- force, because it might have some breaking changes. And I'll show you another way of how you can deal with these vulnerabilities to make sure that you don't have any vulnerable dependencies in your projects. Let me clear the screen. I'm going to type out ls-leh again. And now I'm going to remove the node modules folder with the remove space -rf. This is for recursive enforcing the deletion. Node modules. It's going to remove all those modules. Then I'm going to remove the package lock JSON file. With just remove, I'm using tab completion for this. And now redo an ls again. We see we only have the package.json file. So now I'm going to edit that file. And again, I'm going to only be working in terminal because I don't want to have to jump back and forth between the editor and the terminal itself. So I'm going to use a terminal editor. For this one, I'll use nano. And then that file. It opens it up inside the terminal editor. I'm going to go down And I'm going to delete the dev dependencies section. Press Ctrl X. Yes. Enter. And then I'll just cat that file again. And you see, we're back to where we started. All right, let me clear the screen. All right, so now what I want to do is show you another way in how to deal with these vulnerabilities using NPM Overrides. So what I'm going to use here is Gulp for a demonstration. All right, so first thing I want to do is make sure I have Gulp installed on my system. It'll show me I have the CLI version 2.3.0 and the local version is unknown. If you don't have the CLI version installed, you could always type out this command, npm install --global gulp-CLI. I already have it, so I don't need to do that. But what I want to do now is just install a local version of Gulp. So I'll just type out npm install gulp. All right, so after a little bit of time, you see it installed 350 packages and it audited 351 packages in 27 seconds. It shows you here that we have 6 high severity vulnerabilities. Now for this, we don't want to run the NPM Audit Fix because that will have breaking changes. So let's get more information quickly with NPM Audit. And we can see the information it gives us. If we do use the NPM Audit Fix -- force, it'll install Gulp 3.9.1, which is a breaking change. Then it also shows you some of the issues that it has. I'm going to click this advisory right here, and you see what the issue is. We have a glob parent before 5.1.2 vulnerable to regular expression denial of service and enclosure rejects. Sounds pretty bad. Is this really an issue? Let's take it to Stack Overflow. And if we look up here, why do I keep getting an error when trying to install Gulp? So you scroll down and we go to the answer. It says, those are not errors. Those are warnings issued by NPM. The Gulp team is aware of those warnings, but has decided that they do not need to be regarded. Instead, they insist that NPM Audit is broken and should be fixed. Let's click on this and you see the reference to it right here. All right, so for this, it says it's not really an issue. But just to be cautious, it's always good to see if we can update any outdated dependencies or vulnerable dependencies. So let's go back to our editor. If we go here, we can see that we're using in the glob parent Chokadar, a vulnerable version of glob parent inside of this folder here. We can always take a look at that folder if you want. And we see all the folders and files that are installed, all the modules. You could dive into this and spend some time taking a look at it, but that's not the purpose of this video, so I'll just show you how to quickly fix it. So now we're going to be using overrides within NPM. So I'm going to nano the package.json file again. I'm going to go down right after the second to last closing curly brace. And I'm just going to put in double quotation marks, overrides, colon, curly braces. Inside of those curly braces, I'm going to first type out Chokadar, colon, and I want to use a more recent version of it, 3.5.3. What I'm saying here is basically any package or dependency that I use, I want to make sure it's always using a more recent version of this module or of this package. Then I'll use Ctrl X to save to buffer. Press enter. Now if we do NPM audit again, you're going to see you still have 6 vulnerabilities. What we have to do is update our NPM packages. So I'll just type out NPM update. I got to go back into the package.json file. Right here, I got to put in a comma, Control X, yes. And then I'll use NPM update again. And now you see we only have 4 high severity vulnerabilities. We could do NPM audit again. It'll tell you what the issues are. So I'm going to nano the package.json file again. This time I'll put in a comma where I need them. And now I'm going to type out glob parent 6.0.2, Control X, yes to write to buffer, enter. Let's cat that file. We see we have it there. Now I'm going to npm update. And now you see it has 0 vulnerabilities. Just to confirm, I'll type out npm audit again. And we see no vulnerabilities. So now we have 2 ways to deal with security vulnerabilities within our Node.js projects. We have the standard way with the NPM Audit Fix, but you have to be careful with that one. Sometimes it's better to go and deal with the dependencies independently if you can. So the second way is using overrides with NPM. And if you want more information on that, you can go to this website. This is the NPM docs and the override section, and it gives you some more information how to work with that. All right, so that's it. If you're working with Node.js and you're working with either just NPM modules that depend on vulnerable versions of a particular package, or if you're using Gulp or Webpack or any other bundler or task manager that has any vulnerable versions of dependencies, these are 2 ways that you can resolve those. If you want to find the version number of the most recent version of a NPM package, you could just npm, we'll say chokadar, and it tells you what the most recent version is. So hopefully you found this video helpful. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that notification icon, leave your comments down below, and I'll see you in the next episode. Happy coding.